two of the best pitchers this year in baseball. The Rockies now have won 6 of their last 7. And a guy that quietly has emerged to help the Rockies during this stretch is Ben Paulson. He's played some at first. He's played some in left field. He's played hitter really well.
He has, and we can even go back to last year for Ben because he did well last year in his call-up. He hit 317 with 4 home runs, 10 RBIs. This year, even better. But it's not like you should be surprised by the power because in the minor leagues, he hit 86 home runs. So he's got some thunder in his bat. Against Cincinnati, a huge double. And then the first 2 nights here was really impressive for Ben because he hit some home runs and he hit them late in the game. The first one on Friday night was in the 8th inning to tack on some runs. Yesterday it was the 7th inning to drive in another important run to give that lead for the Rockies in a little breathing room. But Ben has given some energy, and I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again today, along with Brandon Barnes. Those guys have come up and really infused some energy and some passion, and there's no coincidence that part of the reason why this club is winning is because of those guys.
And Paulson will be in the lineup this afternoon out in left field. You know, you talk about timely hitting, you talk about timely pitching, and sometimes it's contagious. The Rockies have gotten great starting pitching. Jordan Lyles was pushed back a little bit with the toe. He'll take the baseball today, and you know he wants to have the kind of outing that he's witnessed the last couple of days.
For sure. He wants to follow up what Chad did on Friday and then Eddie yesterday. Go out there and attack the zone like we always talk about, but Jordan has had to come out of the last 2 out of the last 3 games with injuries. Let's hope that's not the case today, and he goes deep.
So this afternoon, the Rockies go for the sweep in Philadelphia. They'll try to close this week with a 5-1 record on the road. Colorado, Philadelphia, come on back to Citizens Bank Park with us. Right now, it's a glorious day for baseball. There is the possibility for a thunderstorm or two. Would be 2015 Rockies baseball if there wasn't at least a little weather in the forecast.
Let's hope it waits until after the final out. That's the plan today.
I'll go one better. Final out, and we're airborne.
In the air? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So the Rockies winners yesterday 5-2. Eddie Butler, 6 terrific innings, threw just 78 pitches, which was one more than he threw in 3 innings when he faced the Phillies in Denver. Jordan Lyles will pitch today, as we were discussing, and there's Charlie Blackmon with the shades on. And he'll face Jerome Williams. It's Lyles and Jerome Williams, the right-handed veteran for Philadelphia. Charlie with a .257 average, on base about 34% of the time. Here's the Southwest Airlines lineup of Walt Weiss. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. DJ LeMahieu, 5th in the National League in hitting at .325, will bat 2nd. Nolan will bat 3rd. He's had a terrific week. Cargo's going to bat 4th. Tulo will have the afternoon off, at least initially. Willeen Rosario at first base. Ben Paulson in left field. He's been terrific, as we were discussing. Nick Hundley will catch. Daniel Descalso will play short, batting .210, but he's having a real good month of May. Jordan Lyles looking for his first hit of the year. And on the hill is Jerome Williams. And Jerome's been a contrast to what Hamels and Harang has done. He's given up the home run. He's given up a lot of hits. His whip's about 1.5 basically per inning pitch. There's been a lot of traffic this year with Jerome.
And it really doesn't matter. Righties are hitting .324, left-handers .286 against him, and the Rockies have a clear view of Jerome Williams, meaning that he just faced them a couple starts ago. In his last start against the Mets, lasted just 6 innings, 5 hits in that affair. Doesn't walk many guys. He's going to throw the ball over the plate, but it's not an overpowering pitch by any stretch of the imagination, whether it's a fastball, changeup, or curveball.
So here we go. And the first pitch of the ball game is in there, strike one at 91 miles an hour. And when Williams came up, he threw much harder.
Well, he was a first-round pick in 1999, 39th overall by the Giants. A high school in Hawaii.
How about that? A lot of good players over there on the island. And this is popped up foul ground, and it is playable for Maikel Franco. So Charlie disappointed, but he's going to have to walk off. And there's one out. Defensively, Cody Ashley's in left. Odubel Herrera had yesterday off back in center. Ben Revere in right. Cesar Hernandez is at shortstop for the slumping Freddie Galvis. Utley and Howard on the right side. Cameron Rupp doing the catching this afternoon. The first 2 days it was Carlos Ruiz. Strike one on DJ. And a line drive, right field. Yet another base hit for LeMahieu. And get this, 23 hits to right field, 21 to center, only 8 on the pull side. That's fine. Doesn't matter.
No.
When he's pulled it, he's generally pulled it with authority. But the vast majority of his hits inside out to right field.
And even before that hit, I was watching Ryan Howard, and he was signaling to the right fielder, Ben, move over towards the line more. Didn't matter. He dropped it in front, Ben, because the hits for DJ stay with your strength, and your strength is going up the middle the other way.
This ball hit well left center field. Nolan Arenado, did he get enough? You bet! 2-run home run for Arenado, and just like that, the Rockies are off and running. He hit it to one of the deepest portions of the ballpark. His team leading 12th home run, and 10 of them out on the road. He's hit 4 this week.
And way to jump on Jerome Williams. His 8th home run given up to a right-handed batter. Jerome puts his head down because he knows it sounded solid off the bat. And it definitely had enough air underneath it. We'll wait for the distance on this one, but yesterday, Nolan's home run was 423 feet.
A couple of long bombs yesterday off the bats of the Rockies. They hit 3 home runs on Friday. They hit 3 more yesterday. Ben Paulson hit one off the facade of the second deck yesterday.
Yeah, they measured his at 421.
That was a blast. 0-1 on Cargo. And that'll be the second out. That'll bring up Willeen Rosario. Willeen looking for his first hit on the road trip. He has 7 at-bats on the trip thus far. I would say Nolan's bat is very hot. Almost as hot as his glove. It's hard for his bat to be as hot as his glove. He'd have to hit like 680.
Well, that's what he's trying to get to.
Yeah.
In the past 6 games coming into today, he had 4 home runs, had another one, another couple RBIs. A batting average close to 470.
He is a candidate, a strong one, I imagine, for Player of the Week honors. And this is slowly hit to short. This will be a tough play for Hernandez, and he just does get Willeen. But the Rockies jump on Jerome Williams. We told you at the outset he's given up a lot of home runs, and he gives up a 2-run shot to Nolan Arenado. He's a terrific low ball hitter. It's just fine, I'm sure, with Jordan Lyles this afternoon as he takes to the Citizens Bank mound, and he'll set his sights initially on Ben Revere. And the rest of the Ryan Sandberg lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, will feature Cesar Hernandez batting in the second spot, then Utley and Howard. Maikel Franco's in a slump, 2 for his last 24. Cody Ashe, Odubel Herrera, Cameron Rupp, and Jerome Williams. So Lyles again pushed a couple of days with the big toe injury on his left foot, his landing foot. It's kind of like turf toe, and the turf toe basically is his, best way I can describe it is it's a jammed toe. So, you know, when you bend it, it doesn't feel well.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether you're playing on artificial turf, grass. It's when that toe just jams into the end of the spike is when you feel it. And Jordan will have his toes taped together today, and it's been 8 days since he made his last start. And now it's against that first game against San Francisco.
And that's another strike, and it's 1-2. Lyles will feature that fastball about 63% of the time. And he'll get a quick strikeout. Nick Hundley will clear himself to the inside. And Revere is gone.
And that was a split finger, which he's been throwing more when he needs to get a strikeout. Go back and flash back to last Saturday. Watch Jordan kind of hop now off of that leg, and that was a left land leg toe gets jammed in there trying to take the pressure off. That's why he hopped off. And he tried to talk his way in there. The trainers were out there 2 separate times, and finally the 3rd time they said, that's it. You have to come out. We don't want you to injure your arm.
That's what trainers and pitching coaches, managers always worry about. That misses 1-1 on Hernandez.
Yeah, tweak your mechanics.
Exactly. Once you tweak your mechanics, even if it's subtle, you're now displacing
your natural movement.
Somewhere, and if it's stressing the arm or the shoulder or the elbow, that's the last thing obviously you want.
Well, and sometimes when you do that and you put different stress on your muscle, you don't feel it that day, but the next morning you wake up and you could say, it's my shoulder. My shoulder's a little sore here. Well, because you were doing something different, or your elbow. And that's why trainers, especially with pitchers, will get them out sooner rather than later.
No swing on the pitch down and in, so it's 2 balls, 2 strikes on Hernandez. He had a home run late in the ball game yesterday when the Rockies were up 5-1. He came off the bench and hit a home run to make it 5-2. John Axford picked up his 9th save in 9 opportunities.
With that home, there's a good catch. Didn't even need a glove.
From the blue hen.
Yeah, I think it's just hands. That's all it is. Soft hands. The blue hen.
It says on his jersey.
But with that home run yesterday, they kind of broke a streak that the Phillies had. They had gone 57 consecutive innings without a home run.
This is how bad it's been for the Phils. They've lost 6 consecutive games. During that time, and if you include the first inning today, their pitchers have allowed 14 home runs. That's the most in Major League Baseball over that stretch. They've hit only 1, Hernandez's. That's the fewest amount of home runs for any team over the last 6+ ball games. They're not scoring, and they don't pitch well unless Hamels or Harang is making the start for the most part.
Out of the 41 games, 20 times they've scored 2 or fewer runs.
Rockies just fine keeping them in that slump.
That's okay.
For one more day.
But that's what you have to do.
Yeah. Hey, when a team's down, you got to take advantage of it. I know you flash up stats in every sport all the time. How have you done against plus 500 teams? Teams below 500. This ball line foul. And when you add them up at the end of the year, people aren't breaking them down. Okay, well, who did you beat? Doesn't matter. You're trying to win as many as possible. And so the Phils are scuffling. Take advantage of it.
They're all major leaguers.
That's right.
Okay, that's the bottom line. They're all major league teams. But some, that when they're scuffling, that's when you say, no, don't let up. Don't be satisfied with getting the first 2 wins here. Go for the sweep.
Ground ball to short. Descalso's got it. Quick release, 2 outs. Here's a look at the Rockies' gloves this Sunday afternoon at Philadelphia. Paulson's in left field. Charlie Blackmon's in center. Cargo is in right. Arenado with Descalso on the left side. DJ and Willeen Rosario right side. Nick Hundley with a double switch caught the 9th inning yesterday. There's Daniel. And after a slow start in a new uniform, he's really picked it up in May. He'll shift over to the right side for Chase Utley. 2 outs, nobody on. And Utley takes off the plate, ball 1. Let's identify our umpires. Ted Barrett is the crew chief, and he's got the gear on behind home plate. Chris Conroy at first, Angel Hernandez at second, and Scott Barry is at third.
Chris has twins that are turning 6 today. Happened to run into the umpires as I was walking back up here talking to Ted Barrett and Angel Hernandez, and Ted had a package, a gift package. I said, well, who's that for? He said, Chris's girls.
Base hit center field for Utley. Charlie cuts it off, and Utley will take a wide turn and come on back. So a 2-out single, and that'll bring up Ryan Howard. This is how they scored their only run until late in the ball game yesterday with 2 outs. Utley in the first singled and Howard doubled.
And it was on a 3-2 pitch, so Utley had taken off on the swing.
That's Ryan's only hit in his last 17 at bats. And it wasn't a bad pitch by Eddie Butler. It was down, it was off speed, and Howard was out front a little bit, but kind of hooked it off the end of the bat fair.
Doing that for a long time in his career.
Yes, he has. You know, people keep pointing to the age of the Phillies, and understandably so, particularly Philly fans. You could live with Ryan Howard and his productivity if he was the only, say, senior statesman and you had some young talent around him. The problem is there isn't a ton of young talent around him. That young talent is being, you know, developed and cultivated, some at the big league level. You know, guys like Franco, guys like Odubel Herrera, and there are other guys in the minor leagues, because he's on pace to, you know, hit 25, 30 home runs and drive in 80, 85 runs. Not going to hit for a high average, but you know, he's still a big time threat in the middle of the order. Yeah,
and for the Phillies, they're kind of in that conundrum, because they got a few old guys, including Chase Utley, Carlos Ruiz, and then they've got some young guys, and so they're stuck in the middle. But for Ryan Howard, you know, in 2011 he hit some home runs.
This ball down the left field line. Paulson's going to give a run at it. Not going to be able to make a play. Look at Ryan Howard the last 5 years. He's battled some injuries, most notably the Achilles tear. So you're looking, he has 10 home runs already and 25 driven in. And you project him as better than the last 3 years easily.
And 2011 was the year that he made the last out and then blew out with his Achilles in the playoffs.
1-2 on Howard, split finger count. And pulls that pitch foul.
He still has a couple years left on his deal, and that's what the hard thing for a general manager. When you're going well and everything's happening, they sign some of these guys to the long-term deal, and we've talked about it before. You pay baseball players really in arrears.
Yep. And listen, if they didn't sign the Rollins, the Utleys, the Howards, people would be, you know, fuming here. And you understand, I think, as an owner, as a general manager, that most often late in these lengthy contracts, it may not be worthy of the production you're getting, but you are paying a little bit in arrears for what they've done, and you hopefully, you know, if it's one of those 6 or 7 year deals, you get 4 or 5 good ones.
Yes.
People would be mad if they let him walk, I can tell you that. This goes off of Hundley's glove. That'll be a pass ball on Nick, just his second of the year. And Utley moves up.
Set up down, and that just went off the thumb of the glove. Or the mitt, as a catcher is. That's what it's called, catcher's mitt, not the glove.
2-2. Lyle's not getting on top of that curveball.
And that looked like it slipped out. After he threw that, it immediately wiped his hand on his pant leg. Again, it's a hot and humid day here. And one of the first times this year that you've played consecutive games, or 2 or 3 games, with some humidity.
And again, that's pulled foul. Bottom of the first inning, the Rockies up 2-0 on the 2-run home run from Nolan Arenado. Got him with a fastball away at 94, and that disgust from Ryan Howard, not just the at-bat, but a season's worth of frustration. This is brought to you by your hometown Toyota stores. Let's go places. By Clean, Crisp, Coors Light. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. From historic Philadelphia, the Rockies leading 2-0. Drew Goodman with Jeff Houston and Mark Stout. Inside Citizens Bank Ballpark, we're ready to go. Top of the second, Ben Paulson, the third-round pick out of Clemson in 2009. Nick Hundley and Daniel Descalso as well. And first pitch swinging, popped up left field line in that difficult triangle area. And fortunately for Ben, it falls harmlessly to the turf. And Ashe and Franco and Hernandez will slowly move back to their respective positions.
Slowly, so they can make sure they catch their breath. Maybe get a sip of water if they could.
Yeah. Rockies, by virtue of their win yesterday and also Friday night, have won a series in Philadelphia for the first time since 2004. And as we mentioned off the top of the broadcast, trying to sweep the Phils here for the first time ever. And a base, not so fast, huh? Thought that was going to sneak into right field, but big Ryan Howard at 6'5" reached up and made the catch. One out. And as we tell you every day, you can join the conversation. We invite you to do so. Just send us your thoughts and photos. Utilize Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and the hashtag Toyota Talk, and you'll be involved. Nick Hundley, real good April, and he's backed it up with a real good month of May. He's hitting .309 with 4 of his 5 home runs here in May. Final day of the second month of the baseball season. On to June tomorrow, and the LA Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw.
Well, it wouldn't be a Dodger series without having to face Kershaw, would it?
Or Greinke.
Or Greinke,
every series the Rockies have gotten both. Outside from Jerome Williams at 92. It's a ball and a strike on Nick.
Well, the Rockies, if they win today, not only sweep, but they'd go a game above 500 out on the road.
13-13. They're one of 6 teams in the National League. They're at 500 or better. And 3 of those teams reside in the National League West. Only 3 teams at 500 or better, or 6 teams in the National League 500 or better. San Francisco, Arizona, and Colorado, all at 500 or better on the road. Kind of surprising the Dodgers are not one of those teams, but LA is just 8-12 on the road, 21-7 at home.
And we know about the road troubles last year, but last year's the Rockies on May 31st out on the road were 12-20. And then just ended up winning 9 more games after that out on the road.
And the 21 represents the poorest season the Rockies have ever had on the road. Their best season on the road was 2009 when they won 92 games, a high water mark. Also met the Phillies in the postseason. Here's the 3-2. That's strike 3. And that year, they went 41-40 on the road. It's the only time the Rockies have ever been over 500. I think some of this is tied to just the mental toughness of, forget altitude, forget the effects of altitude, etc., because it is what it is, and go out and have good at-bats, good two-strike approach. And that's what they did the opening couple of weeks out on the road. It's why they started 6-0 away from home, and they've gotten back to that of late.
And that's good to see, and that's exactly right. Don't make the excuse that you're out here, you're playing. Yeah, the ball might break different. You're not used to it.
How about this Calso? How good has he been? He just keeps pumping out hits every time he gets an opportunity to play. Walt taps him on the shoulder, says, give us a ball game, and that guy is a professional. That's why the Rockies went and got him.
Yeah, his last 6 starts, past 9 games, he is 11 for 28. Couple home runs thrown in there, but Daniel getting that playing time, getting some at-bats strung together. And now you're seeing the fruits of all those at-bats.
He's going to flip the lineup over if nothing else. Hey, something's got to give here. The Rockies, who are typically a pretty good hitting team with their pitchers, 0 for their last 36. And Jordan Lyles, who's been asked to pinch hit already this year and would be the first guy that Walt would ask to do such a thing, he's hitless in 18 at-bats.
And 10 strikeouts.
So he's due to get hot. 2 strikes on Jordan. And Jordan never moved the bat. So a much better inning for Jerome Williams in the second. Nolan Arenado took him deep. 2-run shot in the first. 2-0 middle of 2, Colorado.
Run. And since we're in Philadelphia, we thought we would do a little comparison. Only 2.5 years in, looking at the careers of Nolan James Arenado and Michael Jack Schmidt, the Phillies great. This is their numbers at third base. This is through yesterday's action. You see some of them are comparable. Nolan's got his 2 gold gloves. Mike Schmidt won 9 from 76 to 84. His last game was May 28th of 1989. And guys, I got a chance to talk to Mike Schmidt today. He's here in the ballpark doing some broadcasting. He said that Nolan is the standard bearer for third baseman in the National League now. In fact, we commented about that backhander he made yesterday in the game. And Mike Schmidt said, yeah, he made the grab. And he could have winked to the crowd, and then he got set and fired it over with that gun that he has. But Mike Schmidt said that Brooks Robinson was the guy he looked up to, and he said, I wonder if Nolan knows him. I said, oh, he knows him because he gave him his Gold Glove the last couple of years. But there's Mike Schmidt here today.
Well, I'm glad he brought that up, because what has happened with Nolan, and that was obviously one of the game's greatest players of all time. What's happened with Nolan is he makes plays now that have above average. I thought we were going to see one right there. He's going to go ahead and do it anyhow, but above average level of difficulty, and we look at them as now routine.
Oh, and they're not. And that's the thing for Nolan that I think people at times don't really appreciate, how easy he'll make a play look. And it doesn't matter. Most of the time there's a fielder when you're looking at him or trying to grade him out that can't make a certain play. Whether it's a backhand or they have trouble with the slow rollers. There's nothing in his game defensively that you say, well, he kind of needs to work on this. Because it's all there, the total package.
Total package. Going right, certainly. Going left, coming in. Going back, going over tarps. Going into the stands. Good at all of them. It's like Stu Cole says, the only thing we need to work on is when he's lying on the tarp, his throws to a bag. Because we'll get that in. 2-2 on Maikel Franco. And that's pulled foul.
But I think that's the biggest compliment that can be paid to Nolan is when you have a Hall of Famer like Mike Schmidt saying this is how he views you, when he was the benchmark for everybody else during his playing career.
You know what I like about Mike Schmidt? I don't profess to know him very well at all, but I've heard him speak, and he came in the booth briefly the other day. Here's the 2-2 fouled off. Is that he understands that it's okay to honor the next generation and say, guess what, man? Some of these guys are better. And it's not to detract from anything that he individually accomplished or anybody from that era. This ball's slashed at.
No, because everybody's great during their era. I mean, Mike Schmidt, that's okay, but it's fun to hear a Hall of Famer say that, because not all guys are that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know you're in agreement with me on this, that guess what? Guys today in all the sports ought to be better. And the reason being is we know so much more about conditioning, strength training, nutrition, all of the things that contribute to making guys better. And also the guys that these offensive players hit against, by and large across the board, we know the pitching's much better, much deeper, and in many cases much nastier. That's not to say that Koufax and Gibson and Seaver weren't unbelievable talents. They were. The Mazes, the Schmidts, of course they were. A lot of guys today, just because of all those other factors, are special.
The game is always evolving.
Sure.
And that's what you have to look at. And it'll evolve 10, 15 years from now. And it'll be different.
2-2. I guess maybe the best example athletically. Look at the times in the pool. You know, we focus on it in the Olympics. We have the great Missy Franklin from our state. Look at Jesse Owens and what he did in the 30s. Well, guess what? Those times that they ran, well, Maikel better
pack
a lunch and maybe a snack for later. He's been up there forever. Those times have continuously gone down because the athletes have improved. They've evolved. And it's the same thing in baseball. I've never seen, or have you said it, a better third baseman defensively than Arenado. This ball's well hit left field. Paulson will have room to make a catch. So,
in
Jordan
fairness,
Miles wins that battle ultimately.
I never saw Brooks Robinson play in person. I never saw him, so I mean I can't judge him. And I know people are going to say, "Well, Brooks Robinson." Yeah, that's true. But I never saw him play. In my time, this is what I'm saying.
Right. And I saw him play on television. I never saw him play in person, certainly on an everyday basis. So we have a bias.
Yes.
But I know that there are people like a Larry Boa who played against Brooks Robinson and has watched this kid play. And guys like that have no problem. Look at Walt Weiss. Walt was a heck of a fielder. Grew up in the same era that you and I did. Watched the Robinsons. Overlapped very briefly with Michael Jack Schmidt. He said he's the best he's ever seen. One strike on Cody Ashe. Misses 1-1.
Now the key is doing it over an extended period of your career.
Yeah.
Like those guys did. Because that's what separates. That's a separator.
I also think when you accumulate a lot of awards in the past, some of it was just you became so associated with winning it that we always famously point out Rafael Palmeiro. That's not to say Mike Schmidt wasn't a great third baseman, but I think he won 9 Gold Gloves. I know Sandberg won 9 Gold Gloves. I'm not sure how many Schmidt ended up winning. And Rhino was a terrific fielder. Schmidt won 10, and maybe he was deserving of all 10. But now they really focus on various defensive metrics. They're not just handing it out to the current name that holds it. And so Arenado, deserving of his last 2. DJ has won 1. And if he keeps going the way he has this year, he probably ought to win another one. This ball back up the middle and past the diving Descalso. So Ashe with a base hit with 1 out. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be harder to reach double figures for Gold Gloves. An example of that's Tulowitzki. He's kind of passed the hat to Andrelton Simmons. Simmons is the best defensive third or shortstop in the National League. I don't know how long he'll carry that mantle.
Just a second here. I'm looking out at Jordan Loud. I think he hurt his toe again, getting out of the way of that line drive.
They have, because Nolan's come in to visit with him and he's not waving off Scotty Garrett.
He's trying to walk it off.
And the Rockies' depth will be challenged because Tuesday they have to play a doubleheader, and they have not announced a starting pitcher yet for that first game. De La Rosa's been pushed back a couple of times now.
And you will have the 26th man that you can add for one of the games in the doubleheader. After that ball goes by, when Jordan jumps up, he lands on that left foot, the left big toe. That's what it looked like when he started hopping around, is when he felt it again. But this is similar to what happened in his last start.
He's taking the baseball.
Yeah, he's going to come out, because I was going to say that throw didn't look like he had the ability to land on that foot. Back up the middle. Watch how he lands again on the left foot after this line drive goes back. He hops up. He just tried to keep it off the ground so it didn't hurt.
That's the difficulty for a training staff, getting an athlete back on the field, particularly with any sort of leg injury, because you can't fully replicate the adrenaline and going 100%. You can say, hey, cut left, cut right, do this. And until you actually get out there, they really put him through a rigorous workout a couple of days ago where they would not have okayed him starting today. But now you're going to have to be really cautious with him and push him back for a while, if not put him on the DL. We'll see what transpires with that in the next day or so. Chris Russin will take over. More on Chris when we come back. Chris Russin will have to take over for the injured Jordan Lyles. Russin started and threw a very fine ball game in Cincinnati. It was his first start in a Rockies uniform, up and down with the Chicago Cubs each of the last 3 years. So he's out there on 3 days rest after throwing 90 pitches on Wednesday and going 7 innings, allowing a run on 4 hits.
So that's where you hope you can sneak 60 to 70 pitches out of him, kind of like a side session, which he would have today. But then this throws that Tuesday start into question. Who might go there, because he's going to have to work and fill in today for Jordan Lyles. But to get back to Jordan for a second, I think you're just going to have to put him on the DL, because you waited. This was the 8th day in between being able to come out of his last start and pitch today, and it hurt again. And you just need time for that to heal. You can't go out there hoping and wishing that you're able to get through your start.
Yeah, he's clearly not going to be ready in 5 days. And to your point, since 8 didn't cure the issue, it in all likelihood will be a DL situation. So Chris Russin, who had that great debut in a Rockies uniform, will take over here.
I think for Chris too, I mean, this sets up nicely because they have 5 natural left-handers in the lineup, and then the 1 switch hitter with Hernandez. But so you got 5 out of the 9 left-handed, and he might have had an idea when he was coming to the ballpark today. They might have told him, hey, if he's not able to go, or if he gets hurt, that you're going to be the first guy up. So being mentally prepared for this role might not be that far off for Chris.
Well, Walt was saying yesterday before the ball game, what a manager does is prepare for every worst case scenario. And he kind of chuckled because, who wants to go through life like this? But that's what a manager has to do. So you're preparing for things not going right. And I guarantee you, to your point, that there were conversations with Chris Russin that's a possibility, because they didn't know if Lyles, they were hoping Lyles would be able to make a normal start. Obviously, that's not the case. So here we go. Herrera up there with 1 out. And Russin's first delivery misses.
And yesterday was his day to throw a bullpen. So by throwing the bullpen, he could have maybe only gone out there and thrown 15 or 20 pitches in anticipation of today.
So it's 2-0. Nick Hundley is catching Russin for the first time. McHenry worked with him on Wednesday.
Didn't really have a chance to talk to him when he came in the game because he had to get loose. So they'll talk after this half inning. Tell me how you would like to throw to these hitters. What do you like to throw in certain counts?
Chris is a sharp guy, and to your original point about letting Russin know there was a possibility, you're going to be the long haul guy. Maybe they said the same thing to Christian Bergman, but those two guys had to really study the scouting report in case they were suddenly thrust into the ball game.
You don't want to be caught looking behind where you're saying, well, I don't know how to get these guys out.
It's a pretty good looking pitch. And no swing, though, on Herrera. So it's 3-1.
Well, he was out of the batter's box when that ball was crossing the plate.
Thought it may have been a strike on the pitch, much less the swing. Very close.
High leg kick.
A
lot of body. Bat didn't travel that far.
No, he didn't swing. 3-2. Chris is from Dearborn, Michigan, and he still makes his home there, though he'll travel down to Lexington in the offseason. We were chatting this morning and work out there in preparation for spring training. He's a product of the University of Kentucky, so pitching in the humidity is nothing new to him. 3-2.
And you can understand why he goes down there to train before spring training. Dearborn in the wintertime is not real conducive to trying to get loose.
Yeah, probably throwing inside.
You throw on the skates.
Yeah. Mark did a piece the other day. Pitched against DJ in high school. And that's a fly ball to left field. Paulson makes the catch, second out. And that'll bring up the catcher, Cameron Rupp. Just to give you an idea, down in Albuquerque, David Hale started on Thursday, so Tuesday would be 5 days, 4 full days of rest. It'd be the 5th day, which would be a normal place for him to start. And David Hale threw the ball very well in a previous start for the Rockies. You would think he's a prime candidate potentially. John Lannon went Wednesday, veteran left-hander, so another name that could be in the mix by just pushing him one day. Again, the Rockies playing a doubleheader at home, a day-night doubleheader on Tuesday against the Dodgers.
We'll televise the second game, the night game.
Rupp lines it to right field and deep. Cargo will have to field it off the wall, and it kicks away for a moment, and they are going to send the runner, and the throw's not going to get him. So Cody Ashley scores on a double by Cameron Rupp, and it's 2-1. Cargo did everything right. There's 2 outs, so you're not really bluffing anybody with that. Unfortunately, the ball kicked to his left. If it comes right back down, Ashley's not going to score.
And there's mesh wiring over that scoreboard in right field. So it's really a guessing game how that ball will react off it. Cameron Rupp takes it to right field for just his second RBI. But watch Cargo. He's waiting for it. And then by the time he tracks it down and gets it in, that allows Cody Ashley to score from first base.
Jerome Williams lines it to left, and Paulson slides and makes the catch. So Paulson saves a run there. The run will be charged to Jordan Lyles. It's 2-1 as we go to the third. for Colorado, who wants tacos when the Rockies score 7 or more. Go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies taco special at Moss at Taco Bell. So the Rockies, first time through the lineup against Jerome Williams, had 3 hits, including the 2-run home run by Nolan Arenado. Charlie Blackmon, DJ LeMahieu, and Nolan here in the 3rd. Williams a little late getting out to the mound after being the final out.
The clock just went off in left field, the clock in between innings. He's not ready to pitch yet.
You know, if you're wondering about the clock and about staying in the batter's box, and how that's being implemented, guys will get letters via, I think it's via email actually, when there's a warning issued or if they have been fined. It is not of public record. So it's not to say nobody's been fined or nobody's been warned. It's kind of been ongoing, and the pace of play has picked up. The last I saw, in the neighborhood of 10 minutes. In other words, the games are about 10 minutes shorter this year than they were a year ago across Major League Baseball.
And players are not fined if the game time lasts less than 2 hours and 45 minutes. So even if you step out of the box or the pitcher, if it's the game time still under 2:45, nothing happens.
2 strikes on Blackmon. Charlie's walked 15 times this year. Last year he walked 35 times.
Take the glasses off.
Yeah. Walked 35 times all of last year. So in about a third of those at bats, actually less than a third, his walk rate is up this year. I asked him about it in the clubhouse earlier, and he had an interesting answer. He said, "I'm trying to be more leadoffy." And that's pure Charlie Blackmon.
Leadoffy.
He goes, "I want to swing at strikes." And he didn't swing at that one, and it was right there. So another backwards K. 3 strikeouts, all backward Ks for Jerome Williams. 1 out. That'll bring up DJ LeMahieu. It'll take us also to our Hyundai league leaders. Brought to you by our Colorado Hyundai dealers. D. Gordon hitting .377. Bryce Harper having an MVP first half. He's at .329, tied with DJ LeMahieu. DJ had a base hit his first time up. Outside, ball 1.
The Rockies will see D. Gordon next weekend at Coors Field.
I know I'll repeat this during that series, but he's a different player, Huey, since moving from shortstop to second base.
Well,
we saw it last year with the Dodgers.
Doesn't have to worry about making that long throw over at shortstop. Clears his mind offensively. He just knows at second base it's easier. You can knock it down, still pick it up and throw a guy out.
Another base hit. Boy, he does such a good job, Huey, of keeping those hands close to the body.
Well, and that's why his batting average with balls in play was .383 coming into the game, which was 7th in the National League. Inside, he still pulls the hands in close to his body. Watch the back elbow drop down into a nice hitting position. And DJ's figured out who he is now. He's not trying to be something he's not. He's a big guy, so you automatically assume he's going to hit a lot of home runs. That's not him. That's not his style. Be who you are.
Ball 1 on Nolan. Yeah, and it seems silly to say that because you have to be awfully good to get to this level.
But there's still labels and expectations put on a player just because of maybe a body type.
Well, as you know, so much of scouting in baseball, we have the June amateur draft a week away, is about projecting. We project this guy down the road, weight strength, getting good coaching, etc. He's going to be X.
Right.
2-1. And with DJ, I'm sure when he came out of LSU, they looked at the body type, to your point, and said, okay, you know what, he's high baseball IQ, but he's going to be a 15 to 20 home run guy. He's 6'4", and he's a couple 100 pounds, going to fill out more.
Drive the ball.
Yeah.
For DJ, he's found out it's okay to hit the ball up the middle in the right field. I need to get on base.
They said he went. That's interesting. I didn't think he went around. That was always a tough call for the corner umpires, the baseline umpires, but Chris Conroy said he went around. 2-2.
This will give us a better look.
And, you know, maybe he did.
Yep. It was right on the edge.
Ground ball to Utley, and DJ did a good job of getting into Cesar Hernandez, and that allowed Arenado to beat the return throw.
Because DJ knew where Hernandez was going on this feed, so he slid to the outfield side. Just watch DJ as he's going in, and Utley makes the turn, and then DJ slides and disrupts the throwing pattern of Hernandez. Because he had to clear himself so much, not able to get enough on that throw.
Sandberg's coming out. He may challenge this.
He's going to challenge it.
Yep. He's going to challenge the safe call at first. It's time for a Subaru review, evidently. Whether you're on the road or at the game, everybody could use a second set of eyes.
This is going to be a tough one. I think he might be out. Just looking at the ball going into the backside of the glove. Is a foot on the bag yet? Yeah, he's out.
So it'll be a 4-6-3 double play. And that'll end the inning. Middle of 3. Rockies up 2-1. Leave last inning, he re-injured his left big toe. Chris Russin's taken over, and now for some reason Ben Paulson has had to leave the game, and Brandon Barnes takes over in left field.
Well, hopefully it's not part of the flu bug that's going around the locker room for the Rockies.
I'll tell you what, if it is, I'd be surprised, and the only reason I say that is I spent about 5-10 minutes chatting with Ben this morning, and he looked fine. Sometimes you can see when guys look like they're a little under the weather. Easy play for Rosario, and Revere is retired.
If you don't already receive Hot Rocks emails, you're missing out on the best ticket deals around. The only way to receive the emails is to become a Rockies registered user. Go to Rockies.com and register today.
Cesar Hernandez will step up. He bounced to short in the first inning against Lyles. Tried to bunt his way on. It's 0-1. Phillies have had somewhat of a strange season. They're the only team in baseball with 3 losing streaks of at least 5 games. Currently, they've lost 6 in a row. They also had a 7-game winning streak mixed in. I'm starting to wonder, did Paulson hurt himself
on the dive,
on that sliding catch to end the second inning?
Tough to tell. It looked like he might have jammed his knee or his left wrist.
He had all 3 putouts last inning. Off the end of the bat to DJ. Ball comes up for him nicely. 2 outs.
Hernandez can fly down the line. Let's take a look one more time at this catch in left field. And it was a sinking line drive off the bat of Jerome Williams in the bottom of the second inning. Knee goes down. And then he kind of jams his wrist, shoulder when it rolls over. And I think he shook his wrist for a moment. Trying to get you an update.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell. There was no grimace, but maybe something occurred there. Utley singled in the first inning, so he's 1 for 1. Changeup. Real smooth, simple delivery for Chris Russell.
Nothing that would make it where you couldn't repeat your delivery. And that's what pitchers try to do. Just repeat my delivery. And so for Chris, it's just a simple bring the leg up, separate the hands, and come through. There's no extra wasted motion. He even starts off to the side so he doesn't have to really twist his body. Almost like he was pitching out of the stretch, but it's a windup. It's a stretch position, but his hands come together and then just come right up.
Full on Chase Utley, product of UCLA. See, they played a long game last night against Cal State Fullerton. Fullerton won on a bases loaded walk-off walk in the middle of the night. It was well after 1 in the morning on the West Coast.
Somebody else had a walk-off in the 14th inning. I'm trying to blank on what game I was watching because there's so many going on right now with the regionals.
Fun time of year in college baseball.
Yes, it is. Well, speaking of Chase Utley, just thinking about him and his swing. Then UCLA, how many guys came out of there? Jared Atkins, all of those guys.
So many great players in UCLA. They've been
they were the #1 overall seed.
Yep, they've been a power the last several years. This ball's well hit to left field, And at the wall, Brandon Barnes makes the catch to end the inning. So it turns into a 1-2-3 inning for Chris Russin. Rockies ahead as we go to the fourth, 2-1.
The fanatic. He notices Kyle Kendrick in the Rockies dugout, the former Philly. He's faking his pitch to the plate, saying, oh no, it's a home run. And he has to cover his eyes. Kyle Kendrick is having a lot of fun. And then today, he comes over and gives number 38 a big hug. That's because number 38, you know what? He told me he was drafted at age 18 by the Phillies, and this is what he knows.
Met my wife. Both of my kids were born here. You know, so it's. I guess I'll always be a part. You know, Philly won a World Series. You know, something that I'll obviously never forget too. And that was a good run we had.
Pats or Geno's?
You know what? I'll go Geno's, but I'm a Jim's guy on South Street. Yeah, I'll go Jim. I'll pick because of the question. I'll pick Geno's, but honestly, the best cheesesteaks are Jim's on South Street.
All right, so that's settled. It's Jim's, as that's up on Cargo. And yesterday, Drew and Jeff were talking about him not being able to pitch against the Phillies. So I said today, good or bad that you weren't able to start against the Phillies? Right away, his answer was, guys?
Bad.
Correct. Bad. Wanted to pitch, couldn't wait to pitch against him. Just missed him, enjoyed his return. But that's what he said. Bad.
Yep, going to miss the Phillies this year. 1-2 on Cargo. It's down 2-2. Cargo hit a little tapper back to the mound his first time. Fourth inning. Cargo, Rosario, and Brandon Barnes for Ben Paulson, who had to leave the game last inning. Don't know why as of yet. Williams done a pretty good job spotting his fastball, pitching off his fastball both sides of the plate.
Using some hip side sinker to strike Charlie out, where he'd started hit side, then swing it and hit the corner.
Down the line, foul. And this is slowly hit to the right side. Glove flip, and they're not going to get Cargo. Probably go as an infield hit since the shortstop, Hernandez, didn't have time to go. Is that Franco on the left side? Franco didn't have time to go from leather to hand.
And it's not a play he's used to doing. If this is a shortstop or a second baseman, he's used to making this flip out of his glove. But Franco as a third baseman is not.
I'm glad that happened for two reasons. One, Cargo's safe, number one. Number two, it gives you a chance to explain, because you guys are the best in the world. You make these glove flips seem really easy. You got to keep your wrist firm.
You
right?
do, and it's a shovel with it. It's not a flip with the wrist. So you shovel it, and you open your palm of your hand as you're doing it.
There's a base hit for Rosario. And now you have first and second, nobody out. Yeah, and he used too much wrist. He got the pop-up, right? He got the pop-up effect.
It was like a highlight throw. Remember highlight? You used to go watch that. They had that cesta, I think is what it was called. And you'd flip it out of that. This time, see how his wrist goes up in the air? Too much. And he turns it over and it flips out of the glove instead of keeping that wrist stiff as you're throwing it to first base. Ryan Howard come off the bag.
That's a great view of it. It went off screen and then re-enters the screen. And so Cargo gets an infield hit. Moline a base hit. Now you have Brandon Barnes. And I always think now, and you know where I'm going with this, Spilly loves to point this out. He said it's least, and it sounds silly to say this, silly Spilly. Spilly says a lot of silly things. But first and second, nobody out, is not really a desirable place to be sometimes, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. He likes the bunt here. And let's see if Barnes, who can lay down the bunt, will do it.
I mean, he could. He'd drop it down the third baseline.
It also depends where you are in the lineup. Now, Barnes in the 6th spot, so you have 2 offensive players to come. The Rockies leading all of baseball, hitting with runners in scoring position.
Probably wouldn't do it if he was hitting 7th, because then they could walk the 8th place hitter to get to the pitcher spot.
Right, but where he is situated right now, it would be a good play. Now, I don't know if he'll do it with 1 strike. And 2 on Barnes.
It's the last thing you want to have happen when you have first and second, nobody out, is to hit into that dreaded double play. And that's why, you know, when you talk about it, and Spilly and I and you, is that's what goes through your mind as a hitter.
Well, he's not. He's going to line it to right. Revere makes the catch, but no advancement. That'll bring up Hundley. Hit caught looking his first time. Cargo with that infield hit has now reached in 12 straight games. He obviously is not by any stretch of the means hot, yet he dives back in. He's been able to get, you know, his hits, but far from being locked in, but certainly a small step in the right direction.
A hit's a hit. Well, it's not the hit that you were hoping you would get, but at the end of the day, it's still a hit, and that's what you have to try to build on.
We want to take advantage of this. Two on, 1 out, and Hundley swings to a breaking ball. It's 0-1.
Well, Jerome Williams has been better here at Citizens Bank. 3-1 with the 3.45 ERA out on the road. 0-3 with the 7.46.
Kind of emblematic of the entire staff for the Phillies. They have been 2 runs better at home than on the road. That is foul.
Oh, and an air on the ball girl down the line. Just confirmed an aggravation of the sprain of that big toe. Just what we surmised.
think Jerome's going to throw out. You got to call time at some point there, because he held the ball for about 10 seconds. This is in the air to right. Cargo's going to tag and move up. First and third, Descalso will come up. What did you tell yourself when you were at second base, nobody out, and you get either a deep fly ball behind, to center or left, or a ball to right when you were a runner? No outs, one out. What did you tell yourself?
Yeah, no outs. I'm going back to tag. Automatically, you go back there to tag, because then you'll take 2 or 3 strides, knowing, well, if I feel like I can make it, I keep going. And if the ball drops, the worst thing that's going to happen, I'll end up at third, but I'm still in scoring position. With one out is when you would go, what they say halfway, but that halfway depends on where it's hit in the outfield. So always a rule of thumb, no outs, you go back to second. One out, you go halfway.
See if Descalso can stay hot, and he had a sharp single up the middle his first time. 2 outs, runners at first and third.
That was a weird throw over from Jerome. Like a shortstop throw throwing from the on a double play ball where he really drops down. Just watch this throw, and it's sidearm.
Pretty close play. And you can tell, beautiful HD, that is not a red glove, a Phillies red glove. It is a pink glove, and it's a very important reason for Jerome that he has utilized a pink glove. He lost his mom, Deborah, to breast cancer in 2001. And I think that's a beautiful way to pay tribute to his mom.
And I'm thankful that the baseball allows it for him to show in honor.
Sure.
His mom in that way. And rather than say, no, you can't have that colored glove.
Strike 3. He must be doing something with that sinker that guys aren't picking up. And that's the 4th strikeout of the game, and all have been backward Ks. So the Rockies' promising inning does not net them a run. They're up 2-1, though. Here's our first bank game recap. Rockies up 2-1. Nolan's done it again. His 4th home run on the road trip, a 2-run shot in the first inning. Unfortunately, Jordan Lyles had to leave with 1 out in the second inning, re-aggravated that toe injury. Cameron Rupp, an RBI double against that man, Chris Russin, who's taken over, and he'll continue on here in the 4th. Ryan Howard, Maikel Franco, and Cody Ashe. Drew Goodman, Jeff Hewson, and Mark Stout on a hot, humid day in Philadelphia. The first pitch misses to Howard, who struck out with Utley at second in the first. That was against Lyles.
I like what Chris is doing, just mixing up his pitches. 25 pitches, 17 for strikes. Take a little off the fastball, we'll cut it. Curveball, changeups.
On the ground to second, LeMahieu waiting for Russin, and Chris got there in plenty of time to get Ryan Howard.
That might go down as a 3-4-1. It went off the glove of Rosario. We'll wait on that. But anyway, Dollar Hot Dogs are back for the 2015 season. The first 10,000 fans on Tuesday, June 2nd, will receive a coupon for a $1 hot dog. Get yours now.
That's a perfect example of why with a big, slower man from the left side, you can play in the outfield grass. Did we lean? Yeah, he did get a piece of it.
He did. 3-4-1.
Franco lined to deep left his first time after a lengthy at bat. It was a 10-plus pitch at bat. Fouled off a number of pitches. Shane Speeds cut it a little bit on that. 1 ball, 1 strike.
One thing Chris is doing is he's getting the baseball and going. That's what Chad Bettis did the other night. Eddie did it last night. I thought he might have lobbed that one too high at first.
That's why they teach now at virtually every level. You know, you run it over and go underhand. Not a lot of coaches / managers trust pitchers who you ask to throw strikes and put the ball on the block on both sides of the plate to throw the ball 60 feet to the first baseman.
It's not something that they really train to do. Remember a ball, though, used to fire it over there about 80 miles an hour, if not more?
With a little sink on it. No help. To gear up for that.
Todd would be looking at him after he got it like, come on, pal. That was a little hard.
But you know, hard. But honestly, you'd rather see that.
Yes.
Than the tight elbow one that ends up down the right field line.
Where it's like a shot put?
Yeah. That's why I'm surprised it doesn't happen more. George had a great explanation of this the other day. When guys are intentionally walking somebody, keep your mechanics the same and throw the ball hard. Maybe, you know, if you top out at 95, you're not throwing at 95, but you're throwing at 85.
And I've seen guys, as you have, in the number of games that we watch, on a pitch out, they'll throw it to the backstop. I've seen somebody try to do a pitch out, they threw it too close to the plate. It was hit for a base hit. But to your point, if you're going to do it, the last time you usually practice it is in spring training. You never practice it once the season comes.
That's also why if the manager is about to make a pitching change, he's going to have the pitcher he's going to take out walk the batter and not ask the guy who's coming in to throw 4 wide ones right away and then ask him to bear down on the next hitter.
Somebody did that in a game the other day.
Strike 3, good breaking ball, and Ashe's gone. 1, 2, 3 innings, 7 in a row set down by Chris Russin. Get him some more runs. We'll go to the 5th, 2-1 Rockies. Smart, safe, and fun to drive. Ford Escape. Go further. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Two to 1 Colorado, 5th inning. Chris Russin will lead things off, and then it's Charlie Blackmon and DJ LeMahieu. First at bat for Chris. And he came into the ball game with 1 out in the bottom of the 2nd. Oh, we were talking college baseball earlier, and a big congratulations to the city of Grand Junction. Another successful, that's a tough hop for Howard. Another successful Junior College World Series complete last night. Northwest Florida State wins it over McLennan Junior College. They were located, you're an old Texas guy.
Waco.
Right outside of Waco?
Yep.
So, congrats to all the schools that participated, and that is such a wonderful event. We televised that late 80s and early 90s a number of times, and I know for folks who've been around a long time, Susan Strand in our truck on graphics, our executive producer Ken Miller, that was always one of our favorite road trips. We got so well taken care of in Grand Junction, and that is a marvelous baseball town. And now of course they have short season Grand Junction Rockies to enjoy all summer long. The JUCO is huge on the western slope.
It was always the goal of ours when I was at Glendale Community College to try to make it up to Grand Junction. And this year out of Arizona, it was Yavapai that played. But it's such a fun town and a fun event. That was a hit by pitch.
Yep, 8th time this year Charlie's been struck. That leads the National League. That's leadoff.
What? Leadoffy?
Actually, excuse me, he's second in the league. Anthony Rizzo. Rockies almost hit Anthony Rizzo 8 times in one series. He's been hit 13 times. But
off the right knee, the outside. Yeah, just turn into it, wear it, and go down to first. But yeah, Grand Junction, congratulations. Always look forward to going out there. It's a fun town and a fun event. Just wish we could get there more often to watch it. Sam Supplizio Field.
Yeah, Sam
spearheaded
the late Sam Supplizio. Sam spearheaded that for so many years. Jamie Hamilton.
Yes. That was with the Angels. Sam would be in spring training with us. What a treat.
Yeah, he went far too young. Great outfield instructor. He doesn't bang up his knee badly. He was the heir apparent center field to Mickey Mantle with the Yankees. Strike on DJ, who's 2 for 2. This ball's well hit left field by DJ, and it's going to climb out of here. See, every once in a while, he turns on one. There's the home run we were talking about. A 2-run shot, and the Rockies are out front 4-1, his 3rd of the year. 2 to right. Give me something on the inner half, and I'll surprise you.
And I'll go ahead and drive in my 25th run of the season. 3rd home run.
Well, tomorrow's the first day of June, and that's where the All-Star conversation really starts picking up. It's a breaking ball. And I'll tell you what, right now, if he's not involved, something's wrong. Offensively, defensively, he has been an All-Star. And so is this guy, Nolan Arenado. That's fouled off. So Nolan, a 2-run shot in the 1st. And his buddy DJ LeMahieu, a 2-run shot in the 5th.
And you don't get a smile out of DJ very often during the game. And that's about as most as you're going to get.
Yeah, he's downright giddy right there.
think the guys are giving him a hard time. Hey, I win the first row. You really got that one. Did you say yes? I did. It's a home run.
This is in the air to left, and Ashe will come in. And that's the second out of the 5th inning. That's my DJ.
DJ played a hit, and it went far.
Cargo in infield hit his last time up. And that ball's lathered to right center field. And that will be an easy double for Cargo. Boy, this was smoked. That's a Cargo type of gapper right here.
And it was nice to hear the sound. Down, but that time he stayed through it. Didn't roll over with the top hand. Kept the bottom hand connected to his body, close to it. A double, the Cargo double, patented.
Well, after this pitch to Willeen, I'm going to show you an interesting graphic about Cargo this year compared to what he's done in his career when it comes to hard contact rate. Another stat that's kept frequently. This ball's hit the center field. We may have to wait a half inning to give you those numbers. So Cargo's left at second on the long fly by Willeen. Rockies got 2 on the 2-run home run by DJ LeMahieu, and they stretch their lead to 4-1, middle of 5 here in Philadelphia.
Just talking about Sam Splizio Field, which is in Grand Junction. I was reading about my hometown, Trenton, New Jersey today, and where the Trenton Thunder, a Double-A team, plays, they just renamed that ballpark Sam Plummerized Senior Field this weekend, yesterday. And I know I played for one of the Plummerized when I was a kid in Trenton. The very first manager of the Trenton Thunder was none other than Tom Runnels when they were a Tigers organization. That was in 1994. And Huey knows the story. He was telling us a little bit about that season with the Trenton Thunder. They built that park right by the Delaware River in Trenton. And they built it poorly, so much so he said he went to practice one day. One of his outfielders was up to his chest in the outfield. He could only see his head. He said, what? They said that the outfield washed away. So they had to actually play some games in Philly. They played about 8 games, he said, that year at the Vet. Then they went back. The Trenton State Prison is right there by the field. And you know who cleaned the field? The prisoners. And they also cleaned their gear. So they had to get new gear. But he goes on and on, Jeff, as you know, telling the story about being a manager there in Trenton.
He just said it was kind of a long year there in Trenton because he never knew what he was going to find and what was going to happen when he came to the yard that day.
But they renamed that field last night, and that Plumeri name, if you're from Trenton, and I know a lot of people out in the Rocky Mountain region aren't, but that's a big baseball name in that part, sort of like Simplesio.
Mark, I was wondering where you were going with that story.
Sometimes they give me a little liberty when we're on the East Coast. You know what I'm talking about, Drew, when we come out here.
Now I do.
So
I'm not going to lie to you, though. I was a little confused initially.
It was circuitous.
But you brought it all around.
They're both named
nice
Sam.
work.
Strike 3, outside corner. Russin strikes out Herrera.
Well, Russin's come in and just shut the door down. Well, it's just off the plate by the 4th strike zone. Got a little bit of a generous call from Ted Barrett. But talking about the Vet and here at Citizens Bank, Jerome Williams will be up in, he's on the on-deck circle. He's one of 14 guys that play at both the Vet and Citizens Bank. Aaron Harang, one of his teammates, has also done that.
Got to be around for a little while, right? This is slowly hit to third. Nolan's got it. He's going to throw out the Phillies catcher. Boy, Rustin's doing what he did in Philadelphia. We didn't televise on Wednesday. 7 outstanding innings. As you said, Huey working quickly, getting a lot of ground ball outs.
And the thing for Chris is it's not like he's a rookie. He pitched a lot last year with the Cubs. The Rockies claimed him on waivers. And he just wanted to get back and show what he still has.
Well, he's retired 9 in a row. He's retired 10 of the 11 hitters he's faced. So Andres Blanco will pinch hit with 2 outs. And the Rockies will get into the Phillies' pen beginning in the 6th inning. And it's a pen that has not pitched well of late. It was supposed to be one of the strengths of this Phillies team. He's the 1-0 on Blanco. He's way out front.
Mark Gomez, right-hander, will be coming into the ball game for the Phillies.
Down the line, that's a fair ball. Oh, the ball girl almost went to field that. It'll be a double for Blanco.
Sixth double of the season for Gomez. Excuse me, Blanco. A few pitches that's been up today from Russin. Ball girl thought about stopping that. And pulled back and said, no, that was a fair ball. I better let it go.
She has to make a quick decision. She made the right quick decision. Now she's conducting the post-decision interview.
That was smart. Glad I let it go.
Good for job security. Ben Revere 0 for 2. And that's in there for a strike. Revere a strikeout and a ground ball to Aline Rosario. Big out here. Keep Philly down. It's 4-1. Don't give them a 2-out run. And this will get the job done. Boy, Chris Russin has been impressive. Forced into duty. He has been outstanding. We'll go to the 6th. The Rockies up 4-1. On Root Sports is brought to you by the Tavern Downtown. Visit Tavern Downtown after Rockies home games and get 2-for-1 draft beers with your same-day ticket. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And by the Courtyard by Marriott, Western elegance in the cultural heart of the city. We're in the sports heart of Philadelphia, where all the stadiums are located, just a few minutes from downtown. Rockies up 4-1 with Jeff Houston and Mark Stout. I'm Drew Goodman. Genmar Gomez will take over for Jerome Williams. Williams goes 5 innings, allows 4 runs on 8 Rockies hits. Brandon Barnes will have his second at bat. Nick Hundley, Daniel Descalso. Barnes came in the ball game in the 3rd inning for Ben Paulson. Still haven't gotten an update as to why Paulson had to leave. He did have to make kind of a sliding catch. Jammed his knee, it looked like a little bit in the turf. A line out to right field, first at bat for Barnes.
For Gomez, pitched yesterday, 1 inning, 1 hit, given up. Lefty's hitting .229 off Gomez. Right-handers over .300.
And we just got information on Ben Paulson. It had nothing to do with the dive. He has a migraine headache.
Never had a migraine, but my wife gets them. I know how debilitating they can be.
This ball roped, just foul. Now the ball girl can go get that one.
Who is she going to give the baseball to? There we go.
So that right there, if it was fair, would be considered hard contact, right?
Yes.
I mean, that ball was ripped. And we're going to go back to the Cargo graphic. He had hard contact his last time out.
Yes,
by the way,
did.
first extra base hit for Cargo since hitting a home run May 16th at Dodger Stadium, 15 days.
That laser line drive home run.
Exactly. Cargo's career rate is almost 35%. So 35% of the balls in play that he hits would be hard contact. And they look at medium contact and soft contact also. I want to throw something out. His best season was almost 44% 2010 when he won a National League batting title, hit 34 home runs. This year he's at 28%, so well below his career norm, and certainly far below his best year. He also is going to the opposite field at a lower rate than he has at any point in his career.
And because he's going to the opposite field less, that's causing that hard contact rate to go down. I mean, they work hand in hand, because when he's going well, he can drive the ball to left field, left center field. But when he's out and around, that's when you see the softer ground ball outs that we've seen some of.
And here's a definition, and I think most of you understand what. Listen, if you rope the ball, it doesn't always mean it's going to be a hit. Then it's going to be hard contact. It represents the percentage of hitters or pitchers' batted balls that have been hit with a certain amount of authority, significant authority, and less so would fall into the category of kind of medium contact, and soft contact would be his first 2 at-bats. He had soft contact. He rolled one back to the mound, and he rolled one towards second. He reached on that one. It was an infield hit, but both of those would have fallen into the soft contact rate. Genmar Gomez, here's the 0-1 to Nick, and that's a strike, 0-2.
Like the Phillies had to do when Chris Russin came in. Everybody's diving over and looking at the scouting reports. Rockies are doing the same thing with Gomez. Fastball average about 91, changeup right around 83, as well as a slider at 83. Those are his average velocities.
Now Hundley caught looking again. Nick faced Gomez yesterday, hit a little comebacker against him. Second time today, Nick has been caught looking. 2 outs. That'll bring up Daniel Descalso. Daniel caught looking in the 4th, and a sharp single to center in the 2nd. Rockies ahead 4-1, a pair of 2-run home runs. The Rockies have hit 8 home runs in this 3-game series so far. 3 Friday, 3 yesterday, and 2 more today. 2-run shot by Arenado, 2-run shot by LeMahieu. 1-2-3 inning for Gomez. Middle of inning number 6. It's the Rockies 4 and the Phillies 1. And this tweet from Corey Dickerson: feels great to be back at it. He's taken BP the last couple of days, and they've been testing that plantar fasciitis in his foot quite a bit, doing a lot of different exercises, karaoke's, and also some side steps, and running a little bit in the outfield, and he's pain-free right now.
Yeah, and so he looks like he might be on track to come back when his DL stint is up. Today he was out early taking fly balls with Rafael Anoa before the game, right around 11 o'clock.
And his date to come off is Wednesday. And Walt, before the game, wouldn't commit to that because, you know, a lot can happen in the next 72 hours. We shall see. But the good news is Corey's getting close. Yep, he's progressed quite a bit. Chris Russin has been outstanding as he starts Cesar Hernandez now with a breaking ball inside. Hernandez is grounded to short and to second. Hernandez, Utley, and Howard 2, 3, and 4 in the Phillies lineup here in the 6th. The Rockies have out-hit the Phils 8-4. Changeup away. 2-0. Rustin has thrown 46 pitches. Huey, what was your guess? 65, 70 maybe?
Yes, just because he threw 90 in the start he had the other day in Cincinnati, and not a full complement of days rest in between.
And the Rockies may be a little shorter in their bullpen.
So maybe they ask him to take another 10 or 15 pitches if he can.
The reason I say that is Rafael Betancourt had to leave yesterday's game with flu-like symptoms. You and I both saw him early this morning, and I talked to him briefly, and he didn't look much better this morning.
You could just tell the energy wasn't there. It wasn't the same Rafi that we're used to seeing every day.
John Axford has worked the last 2 days. That's not to say he's not available to work today. This ball on the ground is short. Descalso moves his feet. Long throw. 1 out.
We're calling all Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Scout Day at Coors Field is Saturday, June 6. All scouts, troops, and packs in uniform can parade around the field before the game and receive a special Scout Day patch. Nice job by Chris to come back from a 3-0 count to get the ground ball out of Hernandez.
Strike one on Utley. We get questions periodically via Twitter on Tyler Chatwood. Tyler's with the club. He has done very, very well in his rehab from Tommy John. It's foul ball. And you always caution to say he's ahead of schedule. I mean, he's spinning the baseball now. And, he was throwing the ball very hard in spring training. Second Tommy John, he had one in high school. So the Rockies are going to err on the side of caution, but in terms of how he's done and how he feels, it's 2 thumbs up.
But you're still not going to jump a couple levels past. It's a progress, and these things are mapped out so great now with what you do in week 28 and week 32 out of surgery, where you're throwing and you're doing whatever it is, but you don't go from week 32 to week 60.
Left field, Brandon Barnes, 2 outs.
Just because you're feeling well.
No, I mean, he is a guy that if it continues to progress as it has, we have a great opportunity to see him in the second half of the season at some point.
I know he's itching to get back.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he's on the road trip now, but just talking to Tyler, he says, man, I feel great. I want to go. And okay, that's good news, but don't push it too hard. Well, what do athletes like to do? They like to push it.
Right, and it was the same story in spring training. In fact, a lot of people were amazed at how good he felt and how the ball was coming out of his hand. This is back in March in Scottsdale. There's Chatty on the left. Kendrick, Tulowitzki. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's an example of how, by the way, how managers, you know this, Huey, from playing for so long, how they have to look a couple days in front with their bullpen, also where they give guys days off. So Tulo has today off, and the reason is, in all likelihood, Cargo will have tomorrow off because you're facing Clayton Kershaw. This is another opportunity for Barnes, and another 1, 2, 3 inning for Chris Russell. Given up only 2 hits since he came aboard with 1 out in the second. 4-1 Rocks. Time ever, latter third of the ball game. It's 4-1 Colorado. The day after every Rockies victory, get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. The promo code is ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com. Chris Russell has been a big story in this game. Thrust into a major role when Jordan Lyles had to depart after just 1 out in the 2nd inning. And Russin has acted like it was going to be his game the whole way. He was ready to go, and he has been terrific. Hit the ball sharply to Ryan Howard his first time. It's on the inside corner for a strike. 2nd inning of work for Genmar Gomez. Blackman and LeMahieu to follow Chris Russin out of Dearborn, Michigan. Idea at the plate. He's got a toe tap.
Up there, yeah, toe tap. The batting gloves on.
And again, pretty good contact. And thrown out by Hernandez, 1 out.
Play the stall game. All right, I had to go back and get some extra pine tar from the stick on my bat. Readjust the batting gloves, and by the time he gets in the box, Chris will have a cup of water and be sitting down.
Charlie accomplishing his purpose.
And then you have factor in that he doesn't swing at many first pitches. Grab an extra couple seconds.
We were chatting about that today, and he said, you know, it's by design, but I'm going to every once in a while kind of ambush a pitcher who thinks, okay, the stats say he never swings at a first pitch. You get a cookie and you drive one.
It's funny you say that, because it reminds me of a game that I had in Detroit. Toby Harrell was our first base coach, and I hit leadoff, and he said, you know, you take a lot of first pitches to start a game. He says, jump on this first fastball you see. I hit a double. And I'll never forget that. Is every once in a while you have to do that to keep them honest.
Sure. Had some leadoff hitters through the year, especially guys like Charlie who have pop, that, you know, first pitch of the ball game. You know, with the first pitch of the ball game, you know what you get.
Well, Ricky Henderson made a living out of doing that.
2-1. Charlie out front, 3-1. Scored after being hit by a pitch in the 5th inning. 8th time Charlie's been hit this year. 2nd in the National League. Also leading the National League, folks, in outfield assists coming in.
Double digits in stolen bases. So pretty much all around what you could hope for and want for from a leadoff hitter.
Ball 4. So with 1 out, Blackman is aboard for the 2nd time in the ball game. And that'll bring up DJ LeMahieu, who has had a perfect afternoon, literally. Single in the 1st, and he came around on the Arenado home run. Singled in the 3rd. 2-run home run in the 5th. Came into the ball game 5th in the National League in hitting. He now has 25 RBIs.
He's up to 338.
That's a ball. Today's game changer is brought to you by T-Mobile. Rockies holding on to a 2-1 lead, and then he dropped the barrel on this one and lined it out to left field. 8th home run the Rockies have hit in this weekend series in Philadelphia. Our T-Mobile game changer. Runner going, and trying to hit behind him, but the hit and run was LeMahieu.
The Phillies, because the way DJ hits the ball to the right side, they have the shortstop covering. So you think about that. If you're in the batter's box, you'll see who was covering, who wasn't. And now if Charlie takes off again and I'm DJ, I think about rolling my hand over to hit the ball to the shortstop side.
Becky just handed me something that said 22166 on it. I thought that was like the code to a locker we needed to get our lunch out of or something.
Yeah.
I said, "What's that, Becky?" She said, "That's the attendance." Becky, put a comma after the second two, and we would have been all in. 22,266, 166 at the old ballpark here in Philadelphia. Their attendance, not surprisingly, from the heyday of a couple of years ago, way down.
You come here and it'd be a sea of red.
Runner going, straight steal, and that throw is going to get it. Good throw by Cameron Rupp. And for the fourth time this year, Charlie Blackmon's caught stealing. 2 outs.
Yeah, it took a perfect throw and a good tag from Hernandez to get Charlie. Jump was good. Wasn't a hit run, straight steal. But the transfer for Cameron Rupp, that's what made that throw.
Two and two on DJ. And a ground ball to second. Philadelphia finally retires DJ LeMahieu. Middle of 7, the Rockies leading 4-1 as we pause for a rendition of God Bless America here at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Enjoy, everybody.
As they perform God Bless America.
interesting. They seem to be getting along okay. Maikel Franco will lead things off. Not a lot of conversation though right now. She seemed to have more of a upbeat demeanor though. Chris Russin continuing on. The sinker's low, ball 1. Bottom of the 7th inning. Chris Russin again took over with 1 out in the 2nd. Jordan Lyles re-aggravated that toe injury. Russin allowed an RBI double to the second hitter he faced, Cameron Rupp. That drove in Ashe, who had singled against Lyles. That was the last batter that Lyles faced. Then he retired 10 in a row to a pinch double by Blanco in the 5th. Stranded him. He's retired the next 4. Now he's fallen behind 3-0. This is actually how he began last inning.
Hernandez came back and the ground ball out. Not this time.
Well, that's first walk allowed by Russin.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand at True HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch trackings, and more. Blackout and other restrictions may apply, but visit MLB.TV for more details.
Yeah, Brooks Brown getting ready. Boone Logan doing some band work. 61 pitches for Russin. Rockies up 4-1. Ashe at the plate.
Well, you hope for Chris. You have 2 left-handers in a row, or 2 young left-handers, in Cody Ashe and Herrera. You know, one of those 2 guys that hit into a double play, get the other one out. And then if you feel like you need to come out, as we see Steve Foster coming out to buy some extra time in the bullpen, at least those guys would start with a clean inning and trying to just get 6 outs from your bullpen.
While Steve Foster converses, I want to talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame manager for Philadelphia, a guy you worked with in the Cubs organization when you were an instructor with the Cubs. Ryne Sandberg began his career in Philadelphia. He was a 20th round pick of the Phillies. He got to the big leagues with the Phils. For 6 at-bats, he had 1 career hit with Philadelphia, and then he was traded with Larry Bowa, the veteran shortstop, and here's the up-and-coming second baseman, to Chicago for Ivan De Jesus, who had already established himself as a good, solid shortstop. De Jesus went on to have, you know, a solid career in a Phillies uniform, and then was moved on after a few years in Philadelphia. And of course, Sandberg, his 20th round pick, has a Hall of Fame career on the north side of Chicago.
And that's what people forget, that he was drafted by the Phillies. Most people automatically assume, well, he was a product of the Cubs system.
Line drive, softly hit. DJ can't get it. And it'll be first and second. It's the 3rd hit allowed by Russin, but it brings the tying run to the plate.
These are tough ones to judge for a second baseman. You know it's not hit hard, but do I turn and run, or just try to backpedal and jump and reach up? It was out of the reach, but it's not like it where an outfielder can run to a spot. An infielder doesn't have that luxury.
Herrera laid out a bunt here.
He might, because that's part of his game. It looked like it there. He was looking to swing away.
Russin going on 3 days rest as opposed to the normal 4 days rest.
What did I say when he came in? You're hoping maybe 70 pitches out of him. The last few, he started to labor. He's up to 65 pitches. Just looking on the bullpen, Brooks Brown is ready to go.
Two and one. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2.
Hard sinking fastball under the hands of Herrera. Talk about simplifying mechanics at the plate where he starts with an open stance and then comes back with a high leg kick and gets closed again. When those guys do that, you can pitch them inside.
Right-handed bat on deck in the catcher Cameron Rupp. Big, strong guy. Hasn't got a home run in the big leagues. Did some in the minor leagues. Gotta figure this is the last hitter for Russin. 2-2. And that's a base hit to left. Barnes coming quickly. Will hold Franco at third, and the bases are loaded, nobody out.
Just left up. Slicing it to left field. Pretty easy ball to hit that way when it's up, away from the hitter Herrera.
So Russin goes 4 2/3. Ran out of gas a little bit here in the 7th inning, but what a terrific job by Chris Russin. He walks off with a 4-1 lead. Here comes Brooks Brown. In the first inning, 10 of his 12 home runs out on the road. He's got 4 this week, in fact. DJ LeMahieu hit his 3rd home run of the year, 2-run shot in the 5th inning. And Chris Russin forced into action when Jordan Lyles had to leave after re-injuring that left big toe. Terrific performance from Chris, and now he'll look on as Brooks Brown will try to minimize the damage. Bases loaded, nobody out. You have Cameron Rupp, the 8-hole hitter against Brown, and then you'll get a pinch hitter. This guy's a double play candidate, and the Rockies gladly would trade a couple of outs for a run. As you see, this will be the 17th appearance for Brown, who just recently came off the DL.
Yeah, and he came in last night, just 3 pitches to retire the hitter that he faced, and that was Franco with just a fielder's choice 6-4.
Depending on how he performs here and how this inning unfolds, it is possible you could ask Brown to work multiple innings. You also have, obviously, their, at least historically, their big 2 hitters are left-handed, Utley and Howard. I say historically because they're not the same players they were. And you have Boone Logan, who's been tossing down in the Rockies bullpen.
But that's why last night Brooks was part of a double switch, with Walt deciding that, depending on how the game went, that he might have to use Brooks for more than just 1 out.
0-1, and Rupp takes a strike. It's 0-2.
You know, if the game got sideways last night, or the Rockies had tacked on 5 or 6 more runs instead of running John Axford out there, just leave Brooks Brown into the game. Christian Friedrich up in the bullpen now.
So Boone Logan has stepped aside for a moment. That may be to hold
maybe saving for the 9th. I mean, this is
in the ball game.
A lot of question marks today coming into the game with that bullpen and who's available, who's not.
Swung on and missed. Big strikeout. Brown with a hard sinker at 94. Punches out Cameron Rupp.
Well, all you have to do is take a look at the swing of Cameron Rupp and how he got tied up. They were trying to open the hips to get the bat through, but when it's 94 sinking under your hands, you stand no chance. Darren Ruff, the pinch hitter, a lot like Cameron Rupp. They're both big guys, and they're looking to do one thing, and then that's to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
And the first pitch strike again at 94 on Ruff. Franco's at third, Ashe at second, and Herrera is at first. A walk and 2 singles. Outside. Well, let me correct something. You know what? Wilson actually pitched Tuesday. He was going on full rest.
Kendrick was Wednesday, but
Kendrick was Wednesday, yeah.
But the point is still, he didn't know what his role was going to be today, that he was going to be called on late. I mean, early in the game. But still, that's hard to ask somebody to come in the second inning and pitch like he did.
Yeah, did a great job. That's on the outside corner at 95. Ruff thought it was off the plate. Perhaps it was a little bit, but the strike called by Ted Barrett, and it's a 2-2 count.
To me, he's set up for a slider. You pitched him away with the fastball. You could slider him away.
No, he's gassed him. 2 punch outs. Brooks Brown. Not out of the woods yet. You have the speedy Ben Revere coming up.
Well, what he did was locate him. Okay. You think you can hit the fastball. You're looking for the sinking fastball in, because that's what I struck Cameron Rupp out on. I'll go back to a fastball away. 2 big strikeouts.
Revere 0 for 3. And he gets a slider, and it's 0-1. Off speed, that was changeup, actually, and
but it's hard to pick up from Brooks because of the way he sets up. He's so much with his left foot, almost equal with his right foot when he comes to set.
There's another changeup, and it's 0-2.
But then he falls so hard towards first base. You see these arms and legs coming at you. You think it's going to be inside, and you throw the ball away from a left-handed hitter. He just flails at it. I'm not sure I've ever seen a pitcher do that with his left foot where it's almost in contact with the rubber when he comes set.
0-2. He's got him. 3 straight changeups. What a job by Brooks Brown. The boos come down heavily on the Phillies. They had bases loaded, nobody out, and Brown strikes out Ruff, and Revere. Wow. You know what? You get a little nourishment after that kind of performance. Bases loaded, nobody out. No problem, Skip. I got you.
Yeah, and you get
punch outs.
And you get a handshake and a hug from Chris Russin, because those were his runs out there. Nothing makes a bullpen guy feel more proud than when he doesn't let inherited runners score.
And how about the contrast, Huey, against Ruff, 95, 95, 95. Ben Revere comes up. He gets 386-mile-an-hour changeups.
Changeups, hit him if you can.
This ball's in the air, shallow center, and coming on to make the catch is Herrera, and Nolan's retired. 1 out in the 8th inning. Cargo coming up. The new pitcher is Justin DeFreitas. This Phillies bullpen, during the losing streak of 6 games, has allowed multiple runs in 5 of the 6 games.
This is kind of a complete game as far as the Phillies go. They're not hitting right now. Their bullpen's not too good. They're getting a couple good starts out of Cole Hamels. Today it wasn't horrible from Jerome Williams, but yesterday Aaron Harang.
Another good start from Harang, other than the solo home runs, 2 runs in 6 innings. Cargo, 2 for 3. Infield hit. He had a double his last time up to right center. And he takes a strike. That double was his first extra base hit since blistering a home run on May the 16th at Dodger Stadium. Average slowly climbing up.
If you could just hit one against the shift to left field, there's so much room. They're going to pitch you away. Just take it to left and then just pad on to that batting average. Or hit through it.
Hit a rocket to right.
That's caught. Yes, it was.
Wow. Ben Revere steals a hit from Cargo. He's standing at second base. And he's waiting to see if that ought to be reviewed or not. Second base umpire went out. That's Angel Hernandez. He hit it too hard.
It is a catch.
That stayed in the glove. Well, the good news is those last two balls, Huey, were lathered.
Just cargo that we say it, we're used to seeing. Hard hit balls.
Williams 1 for 3. Hit a ball to deep center his last time up.
If he didn't have Ben Revere had that center fielder speed to catch that ball.
Ball and a strike on Rosario. Two balls, two strikes. Who wants tacos? Fans follow @RootsSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies produce 7 or more runs in a game. Top of the 8th, Rockies up 4-1. Just missed, and it's 3-2. Brandon Barnes on deck. Swung on and missed, and DeFreitas with the strikeout of Rosario will go to the bottom of the 8th. 4-1 Colorado.
We'll get to know Scott Oberg, who has connections to South Jersey and Philly. The good, the bad, the sully, and the spilly, because it's the end of the month. And that also means you get to see the best plays from the month of May. And Drew and Jeff, better yet, you get to see wins from 4 of the last 5 games. Only a 2-1 loss in Cincinnati. Let's see if the Rocks can keep it going here as they've got things going their way in Philly. Let's go back up to the booth.
All right, Mark, and 6 out of the last 7 days have ended with the Rockies' victories. They're trying to make it 7 of 8, trying to produce their first sweep in Philadelphia ever. Christian Friedrich will handle the 8th inning with Cesar Hernandez, Chase Utley, and Ryan Howard due. 2 of the 3 obviously are left-handed. And the Rockies a little bit short in their bullpen. Betancourt is down with the flu, apparently, and John Axford has worked the last couple of days, potentially in play, but who knows?
Maybe, but that's why this inning is so important for Christian Friedrich.
And then it'll start with a fly ball to Cargo in right, 1 out.
I mean, it'll go down if he gets out of this. Rockies go on and win. It'll go down as a whole, but to me, this is almost like a safe situation because of the score, where you are, and you have Chase Utley and Ryan Howard, 2 left-handers coming up. You this set up for Walt to bring in Christian. You get the leadoff hitter. You get these next 2 guys and still have the 3-run lead at least.
Phillies have been swept twice this year, both at Citi Field against the Mets. Chase Utley, a single back in the 1st inning. 2 fly balls to left field. And this is on the ground. 1 hop to DJ. 2 outs.
2/3 of the way there for Christian.
Howard will be next. 1 for his last 20 at the plate. Strikeout, a ground ball to LeMahieu, and a fly ball to Barnes at left. So over the last several days, Philadelphia had come in 0 for 21 with runners in scoring position. They were 0 for 9 yesterday. That last inning, chance to get back in the ball game, down 4-1, bases loaded, nobody out. 3 punch outs, just adding to their misery. They have been the most offensively challenged team in the National League. Good pitch by Christian. It's 1-1.
Christian to come out of the bullpen now. He's primarily just a fastball, maybe a big overhand curveball, an occasional slider. Well, the first 10,000 fans through the gates on Wednesday, June 3rd, will receive a Rockies beach towel sponsored by King Supers. First 10,000 fans, Wednesday, June 3rd.
That curveball missed 2-2. He's got him on the inside corner with a fastball at 93. Quick work by Christian Friedrich. And the Rockies will head to the 9th with a 4-1 lead over the Phils. Good location. lines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Mike Shaw Subaru, always our lowest price in sales and service guaranteed. By the Colorado Lottery, expect the unexpected. And by StubHub, Rockies fans, next time you need great seats, get to StubHub without the surprise fees. Ninth inning in Philadelphia. The Rockies leading 4-1. As we go back to our Denver studios, Jenny Kavnar and Ryan Spilborghs. That sounds like a wonderful plan. Jonathan Papelbon, guys, will be on the hill for Philadelphia. The old he needs work because their closer has not had an opportunity to close games in a while, with Philadelphia looking hopefully at their 7th consecutive loss.
Well, even the last game he pitched against the Mets back on the 27th, it wasn't a save situation. Another case just to get him work. I like Jenny's thought, the broom.
The Rockies haven't been in this situation in a while.
They've never swept Philly here. The last time they swept Philadelphia was 2002 at Coors Field. Oh, that hit him. That hit him as he swung.
It's a strike, though.
That is a strike. Where did it hit him, though? That's the question. Right forearm. Right bicep.
Changeup, splitter, and that is strike 3. With every challenge call, the Subaru Eyesight Review will determine the outcome. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Nick Hundley, 0 for 3, couple strikeouts. You know, it's Scott Oberg throwing in the Rockies' pen. So Boone Logan stretch earlier. I don't know if he threw it all. John Axford obviously is not up.
You could also piecemeal it together if you wanted to. I don't think you'd want to. You want to try to stay off of John Axford. I mean, have Oberg face the first hitter in Franco and then go Ashe and Herrera, or just see if Scott could close it out and get his first save.
And that's strike 3 on Hundley. Really strange ball game offensively for Nick, who's had such a great year. He just evidently not picking up the baseball late, because 3 of his 4 at-bats ended with him taking a called strike 3. And he's an aggressive guy.
Well, it happens sometimes.
Yep.
I mean, you go in the game, you can do everything you want. Feel like you had a good BP session, even though you didn't hit on the field down in the cage. You're locked in, and you just don't pick up the ball. They're kind of reminiscent of what happened the other night with Chad Bettis. He said he had an awful bullpen session before he came out to pitch that night. And then what does he do? 7 1/3, no hit ball. Perfect for 6 of those.
Yeah, you never know. Ball and a strike on Descalso. Single back in the 2nd inning. Rockies 4 runs, 8 hits, but they've utilized the long ball in this series and in this ball game. 8 home runs in this series in Philadelphia. And the other thing, they've kept Philly in the ballpark. I mean, Philly has hit just 1 home run in their last 7 ball games. The Rockies as a staff, and I know some of the numbers aren't pretty, but it's trending obviously in the right direction. They've pitched much better the last week to 10 days. There's a bouncer up the middle, and Utley did a great job of barehanding that for a moment. It's a base hit for Descalso to finish that thought. The Rockies came into the ball game having allowed the 4th fewest home runs in the National League.
And then the 1 home run they did give up was to Hernandez yesterday. It wasn't to one of the big guys in Utley and Howard.
Rafael Noah is going to pinch hit for Brown, or excuse me, for Friedrich. Well, Rafi's been great in the pinch hitting role. He's been good when he started also. He's 6 for 17 off the bench. Told me that knee got a little swollen on him. Remember, he had that great attempt in foul territory where he did a pop-up slide. He said, well, problem is when I hit the dirt, I never went anywhere. He popped up and nearly made the catch as he fell into the stands, racing full speed from left field.
In Cincinnati the other day.
Yeah. And he got swollen a little bit, did not keep him from participating. The next ball game's when he threw out that RBI single off the bench. Waited as long as he did to get to the big leagues.
I would just say that's when the manager comes to you. How you feeling? I'm great. I'm
awesome.
great.
3-0. So Descalso will be moving with the pitch, 3-2. Noah in the 9th inning with the Rockies ahead 4-1. The Phillies will have Franco, Ashe, and Herrera against Scott Oberg. And a ground ball to short. So when we come back, the Rockies looking for 3 more outs. Up 4-1 in Philadelphia. Rockies looking for 3 more outs, up 4-1 In Philadelphia on a Sunday afternoon, the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. How about this? If the Rockies win, they move over 500. There's only 3 such teams on the road in the National League. The Giants and the St. Louis Cardinals. That's it. Rockies not normally, as you all know, on that list for outstanding road records. And Scott Oberg will be asked to get the save. This is unfamiliar for him at the big league level, but Huey, certainly not unfamiliar for him at the minor league level, where he saved 61 ball games.
And that will help him here. And that's not to say that he doesn't have some nerves going on. I know he's got a lot of family and friends in attendance. His wife's from this area. They're excited for him. A lot of passes, but now it's channeling that energy and harnessing it in a good way.
In his minor league career, he was 61 out of 68.
Well, he has the stuff to do it. I mean, the 95, 96 mile an hour fastball, big overhand curveball. And he's going to be pitching against some youngsters.
And the first pitch bounced to third. That'll work. 1 pitch, 1 out. Time for our Century Link. Link to what's next. The Dodgers come a-calling. It's 4 games in 3 days. There's a makeup game, so a day-night doubleheader Tuesday. We will not televise Tuesday afternoon, and we'll pick up Tuesday evening. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and tomorrow will be Kyle Kendrick against Clayton Kershaw. And Kendrick has been throwing beautiful baseball for the Rockies his last 4 outings. Cody Ashe steps up. And Oberg feeds the strike zone at 94. In his minor league career, the opposition hit just 198 against Scott. Product of UConn. Breaking ball misses, and it's 1-1. So far in this series, and hopefully it remains just as I'm about to say, the Rockies have outscored Philadelphia 13-4. So they've utilized the long ball and terrific pitching. 2-1, 2-2.
I think I'd put the terrific pitching in front of the long ball, because that's always the key if you're going to go beat a team and sweep a team.
Absolutely.
And you're going to have that. And the starters have done their part, I should say. The 2 starters, and then today, Chris Russ, and I kind of consider that a start because he had to come into the game so early.
Yeah, and over the last 7 ball games prior to today, 6 Rockies victories, the Rockies had averaged slightly more, where's that? Slightly more than 7 innings a start. And that should have been strike 3. How about the contrast earlier in the year where it seemed like Wall had to walk out of the dugouts too frequently in the 5th inning. There's the 3-2.
And just the ERA in the last 7 games, about 2.55.
It's going to go down today. Another 3-2 and a ground ball to Willeen. Good feed, 2 outs.
Willeen led Scott just enough where he could catch it before he came close to the bag. Now Nolan doing the smart thing, talking to Scott for a minute. You got your breath? You okay? You ready to go? All right, then finish it off. Get this 27th out. Let's shake hands. Get your first major league save.
Odubel Herrera, 1 for 3. 2 outs in the 9th. 96.
He's just attacking the zone.
And he's not a straight 96. His ball has a lot of movement to it.
It's a heavy 96. You hit it, feels like it's a bowling ball.
Look at that changeup.
Arm action of a fastball, turn the wrist over, and then watch the bottom drop out.
One and two on Herrera. And that's foul.
Just overthrew that changeup. That's what I'd like to see right now. Just go ahead and throw him the fastball.
Yeah, let's see how 96 looks to him.
The other thing is Scott's adrenaline's pumping through those veins. You got a little extra behind it right now. You're feeling good. Well, let me show you my power. There we go.
Got friends and family here. Here's the 1-2, and that's fouled off.
That's what it was. I like what Nick did. Just flash the fastball down. Should I trust it? You need to trust it.
One-two curveball, and that is hit into left field for a base hit.
They hung the curveball. Watch where this is when it crosses the plate. He wanted it down, and it ends up belt high.
Carlos Ruiz is going to pinch hit for Cameron Rupp. And this is in the air to Cargo and right. This should do it. Cargo's got it, and the Rockies, for the first time in their history, have swept the Phillies in Philadelphia. They've won 7 of 8. First major league save for Scott Oberg. And the Rockies have just finished off a 5-1 road trip through Cincinnati and Philadelphia. They've won 4 straight. And it's nice to watch this club shake hands on a daily basis. And today about the long ball, and most notably about the bullpen and the pick-me-up of this man, Chris Russin, our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Jordan Lyles unfortunately re-injured the toe, had to leave after getting 4 outs. Chris Russin said no problem, as he gets the victory, going 4 2/3, no runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, a couple of strikeouts. Marvelous performance on short notice for Chris Russin, the product of the University of Kentucky. It'll be a happy flight back for the Rockies to Denver, where they'll open up a 4-game series against the Dodgers. Once again, the final score, the Rockies win it 4-1 over the Phillies. Time to get you out west to our Toyota postgame show. Here's Jenny and Spilly.